Welcome back to the Conspiracy Meta Weekend Edition. I told you all I'd dig into Israel and Iran, so let's start there. First of all, God is good. I told you all he warned my wife and me last weekend, and here we are. The hour of judgment is at hand. If you still don't believe, check out the comments on any post regarding Israel and see the wheat and the chaff being separated in real time. You reap what you sow. Remember that, folks. It's the law. On Friday the 13th in Israel, as Saturn in Aries squared Jupiter in Cancer, as the asteroid Israel squared the asteroid Iran, as the asteroid America moved to conjunction with the sun, Israel assassinated the top brass of Iran, allegedly attacked multiple nuclear facilities in Iran, prompting retaliation in the form of Hellfire missiles. We had discussed 2 weeks ago how Israel was going to showcase their laser update to the Iron Dome at the Paris Air Show, but it must have been a calm since they got a chance to do it in real life. Of course, the Nazi SS paramilitary contractors flooding social media this past week was no coincidence, and now it's meme after meme of people wishing death on Israel. Sure, you noticing the Jews and expressing visceral hatred of God's nation and people is organic detective work, and not just a coordinated counterintelligence propaganda machine akin to COVID heaping spiritual curses on the masses. Whatever helps you sleep at night, I guess, although I hear there's no rest for the wicked. You know where that button is if I'm starting to overheat your smooth brain here. For now, it's unclear as to whether or not America will join the offensive or how involved we were in Israel's attack to begin with, but I'll say it again louder for the people in the back. There will come a day in the near future where America does in fact turn on Israel as we house their mortal enemies, the Nazis, inside our, quote, deep state. Until then, I'm glad I learned Russian, because I'd rather fight on the European front than in the Middle East or Asia. Speaking of, why is China so quiet these days? Moving on to something sweet. George Soros' second youngest son, Alex, got married to convicted pedophile Anthony Weiner's ex-wife and Clinton family executive assistant, Huma Abedin, on Trump's birthday. I'm sure it's a total coincidence, with tons of Epstein's client list in attendance. Happy nuptials, you Nazi scum. Truly a match made in hell. But speaking of going to hell in a handbasket, the Bilderberg Conference 2025 met in Stockholm this weekend, and that's precisely what syndrome they plan to give the rest of the world as they discussed depopulation, the role of AI in national security, geopolitics of critical minerals, and more. All sneak previews of what's coming down the pipeline here. A lot of conspiracy accounts reported that the conference was taking place this weekend, but your pal Druid here likes to take things a step further. So let's cover some of the prominent American attendees. First up, we have Vice President J.D. Vance's mentor and Palantir CEO Alex Karp, along with his boss Peter Thiel. Alex Bourla, prize winner for the development of the Pfizer COVID vax. Delta Force Army General and CIA friend Chris Donahue, the grandson of the co-founder of the CIA, Nicholas Eberstadt. Sounds German. Trump's science advisor and former chief technology officer and chief of staff over at Thiel Ventures, Michael Kratsios. Former CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, elected U.S. Representative for Missouri, Jason Smith. That's the guy who did the El Salvador super prison publicity stunt to try and re-import that one Mexican guy we deported who actually is back now. The CEO of Microsoft AI and former head of AI at DeepMind Google, Mustafa Suleyman, and former president of Harvard, former Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton, and former chief economist of the World Bank and OpenAI board of directors member, Lawrence Summers. Just to name a few globalists in attendance. Seems like AI dystopia, or the singularity, might actually be as near as Sam Altman suggested last week. And if you're huffing copium that AI is still just making funny memes or producing good therapy sessions, Palantir, Meta, and OpenAI senior tech executives were all just sworn in as lieutenant colonels for the Army to help steer and advise the implementation of artificial intelligence and military strategy moving forward here. Good grief. That's about all I can fit in this weekend, and I'm still way over the limit for the algo. Oh well, I'll just have to rely on my bleeding follower account to like, comment, and share my content to keep me relevant. Or else I guess this show is really just an exercise in vanity after all. Well, hopefully me fighting the good fight prevents me from swallowing a bee and dying like Prince William's billionaire pal Sunjay Kapoor. I'm sure that wasn't a calm for the Indian-Pakistani conflict or anything. Until next time, truthers, when you know the truth will set you free.